Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be comparing this Palmetto AR-15 to this Radical Firearms AR-15. And the only reason why we're comparing these two is because it just happens to be the two guns I was shooting today. So there's a couple of interesting points between these two guns that I just thought would be interesting to share with you guys. So the Palmetto, well, first of all, these are both 16-inch barrels. The Palmetto has a quad rail on it. The Radical has a free-floated rail on it that's very skeletonized, which makes it lighter, right? So the benefit of this skeletonized rail over here is there's less weight there, so this gun comes up a lot easier. There's a lot less weight in the front. It's also cut back, so sometimes you can have these rails that go all the way out, further out, almost to, almost up to the bird cage. So this one's cut back a little bit. This is a great gun for women, just because there's so little weight up here. In fact, I don't know if they make a quad rail, a rail that's even shorter, because I think that would be kind of ideal for women, because you would have the benefits of being able to use a full length 16-inch barrel that's not extremely loud and doesn't have a crazy muzzle flash. But then if you have it with a shorter rail, let me see how big this longest rail is. Pretty sure it's a 12-inch. Yes, 12-inch. So there's a 12-inch rail. So for women, I think like maybe a 10-inch rail would be really good, because their arms aren't as long. This is perfect for me. Because when I put my finger there, this just comes out perfect. But for women, they usually end up holding the gun a little further back over here. So benefits of the free floated rail, it's lighter, okay, and the other benefit of this is that there's less points of contact with the barrel, okay, because basically it makes contact back here, and then the only other point of contact is the gas tube that comes out of the barrel, okay. So there's a lot of people say that there's a single point of contact with the barrel, as opposed to quad rail, okay, where we've got on this one 4 points of contact, right? There's the point of contact back here where the barrel goes into the receiver. Then you've got a point of contact over here. There's a plate over here where the rail attaches to, and then you've got the two contact points of this A2 post, right? So you got 1, 2, 3, 4 points of contact. The gas tube on this goes right up through the post, so that's not an additional point of contact. So it's got 2 extra points of contact, and theoretically, the extra points of contacts can interfere with the natural harmonics of the barrel. As the barrel shoots, there's a natural vibration, and if the barrel is allowed to vibrate the way it naturally wants to vibrate, it's supposed to give you a slightly more accurate shot. Okay, so that's one of the benefits of having the free floated barrel as opposed to the quad rail. Now, the benefit to the quad rail is that you can hang stuff on this, right? I mean, I can put lights on anywhere on this, sides, top, bottom. I can put a grip over here, a vertical grip. I can put it anywhere I want on it. So if I wanted to put, let's say, some night vision equipment, I could just mount it on here. Lasers, whatever it is, there's lots of stuff that I can mount on here, and I can, it's already set up. So if I want to mount something, I don't need to go looking for extra rails. For example, with this over here, I wanted to have this little piece of rail over here, so I have to mount this little 3-slot over here. But the point is, like, let's say I wanted to mount the light on the side here. Well, now I got to put another little piece of rail here, so I got to go looking for it. And I know that there are lights that they make that will mount directly to the M-lock. But the ones I have, they need to attach to a Picatinny rail. Okay. The other thing that I find with the M-locks is that it's just a weaker. It makes for a weaker rail. So, for example, if you put a vertical grip on here and you hit the ground with this, I mean, there's a good chance that this might just pop out of there. The rail might break, whatever, might bend out of place or bend out of the way. So this is definitely a more fragile you know, a more fragile setup, right, as far as the rail goes. Whereas this one over here, I mean, it's basically a heavy piece of metal that's attached at both ends. I mean, if you run out of ammo, you know, you can extend this thing. You can use this thing as a club, and you know, this hitting somebody's head is just as deadly. Okay, not to say that the other one is gonna feel good, but there's just there's a lot more give over here, right? This thing, even if you hold this and you push like this, you'll see that that rail moves. Okay, so now as I mentioned before, the free floated rail, right, tends to be a little bit more accurate. Most people will say that it is a ½ inch more accurate at 100 yards. I was shooting these two guns today, and with the Palmetto, which is this one here with the quad rail, basically I got 2 groups at 3 inches and then 1 group at 2 inches. Okay, with the Radical, I got all 3 groups at 2 inches, right? And I was using the same ammo. I was using this X-Tac from PNC. Okay, so that's a good indication, right? When you know, like I said, with the Palmetto, which has the quad rail, I hit. I only hit one grouping at 2 inches, and then the other 2 groupings were at 3 inches, versus the Radical with the free floated rail. Some people call it free floated barrel. With that one, all 3 groupings were at 2 inches, right? So it seems to be holding true that this is slightly more accurate. Now, I do have, for example, a Colt that is of a similar design to this, okay, and that hits 2 inches pretty good, you know. So you know, we're talking averages here, okay. I have a number of ARs that are free floated, and I have a number of ARs that you know, that have that A2 post, right, that have the 4 points of contact, and on average, my free floated ARs shoot a little bit better than the ARs that have the quad rail. Okay, so and it's not by a whole lot, okay, but there does seem to be, you know, on average, you know, that one does seem to shoot a little bit better. So some of the benefits of this, like I said, it is stronger. It is a stronger design. You can hang things on it wherever you want, without having to look for for a little additional slot or something. I mean, it's just ready to go. You got plenty of space here to add stuff on. Whereas with this, every time you want to add something, you probably gotta go looking for a little bit of rail. Okay, you know, so that's you know, one of the issues with this M-LOK system. Between the two, I generally prefer this more. Okay, I generally prefer this more. However, in an end of the world type of situation, you know, where basically I'm not going to have access to little extra pieces of rail, where there's a good chance that the gun is going to be beat up a lot, dropped, you know, I would probably go with the quad rail. Okay, in a, you know, apocalypse type situation. And the truth is that my home defense gun is right here. It's a, you know, my home defense gun is similar to this. It does have that quad rail for that purpose. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is I want to talk about the sights, the fixed sights. So this one has the fixed front sight, and I normally keep this back here. You know, I have the backup rear sight, and that's normally how this rifle lives. However, today, because I was trying to get an accurate group, I basically took this off and put on the magnifier, and I shot both guns with the magnifier. Now on this one over here, okay, this one I don't even keep flip up sights on this. I mean, I do have flip up sights like in a drawer somewhere. Like I have enough flip up sights to go, you know, to go around, and I can put them on every single AR with a free floated barrel that I have. But at this point, on none of them do I keep it on the gun. What I find is it's a lot more valuable and a lot more useful for me to be able to quickly, oops, or somewhat quickly. Is this even open yet? So, there you go. Okay, so this to me is a lot more useful than the flip up sights. Okay, so that's why I don't bother with the flip up sights. You know, especially on guns that I shoot on a very regular basis. So on that one over there, what I ended up doing today was I took out the rear sight, the rear flip up sight, and I put this one on there. All right, let's get you back on. There you go. This time it went on easy. And I put this on there, and I shot the gun like this today. So I've covered this in the video before. Let's say end of the world apocalypse. How would I set up this gun or the other gun? Okay, it's a lot more likely that I'll be using the magnifier than I will be using the iron sights. Okay, however, optics can fail. I would like to have backup sights. What I would do is I would take this rear sight and I would just put it right up here. And I have tested this out to 100 yards. Obviously, I'm not tying it up now, but I have that co-witness, right? Even though it's not tightened down right now, I have that co-witness. And even though this is fairly short over here, the distance between these two sights is fairly short. It's still longer than most pistols. So as a backup sight for like an oh shit situation, my optic failed. Yeah, that's a good place for this to be, and I can just flip it up and, you know, the gun's ready to work. I normally don't keep my guns like that. I did do it for a while, with a couple of my couple of these flat tops, where I had rear sight here, rear sight over here, front sight over there, and I ended up just taking off because it was just extra weight on the gun. Okay, if I'm not planning to go to war with the gun like right now immediately, it doesn't need to be on there. For the typical home defense type of situation, I mean, first of all, you know, have more than one gun, right? I think it's more practical to have two ARs in your safe. So if you pick this one up and it's not working, just take the other one, okay? So, and with the Holosuns, I have found that it's more likely that your gun's gonna break than your optic is not gonna work. Okay, so the Holosuns that are solar powered with the battery backup, you know, during like normal times, it's highly unlikely that you would ever need to use your backup sights. And if we got to the point where, hey, end of the world apocalypse, you're not getting any batteries, you're never gonna find batteries again. At that point, you know what? You've got time to pull the flip sights out of your backpack or wherever you keep your stuff, and just throw them onto the gun. And you can use your optic to get a quick co-witness, right? Because you can use the optic, which is already zeroed in, as a point of reference, right? So just like, for example, over here, you know, I already took this off the back and I just threw this on here, right? I haven't even tightened it down, and I can just look through the glass over here, and I can see that I got a pretty good combat zero where I would be able to hit a man-sized target at 100 yards, okay? So even though this is not even tightened up, I mean, it's got a pretty good setup for a lefty right now with the magnifier to that side. So I can see that I got a co-witness that will get me out to 100 yards. And the honest truth, with just iron sights, I wouldn't want to be engaging past 100 yards. I'm probably you know, looking to do something different. Either get closer or get further away, okay? But yeah, I definitely would not want to be engaging with just iron sights any further than 100 yards. That's my opinion on that. So let me know what you guys think. And like I said, I wasn't even sure, you know, where I was going to take this today. I just, you know, I just felt like shooting this gun over here. And I said, you know what, let's take this gun out and let's just shoot it, you know. And, you know, I shot this, I got a grouping on this. I said, you know, let me pull out the other gun. Now, both of these guns are beaters. Like the guns that I used to train people, they're just guns I used to put, like, you know, when I go to different gun ranges, people don't have guns. I give them these guns to test out. So these are just guns I use to to train people on. You know, so like I have another radical that shoots 1 inch at 100 yards. That one only I shoot, right? So you know, for beater guns, I think that they're doing pretty good. I mean, they're, for the most part, this one over here is shooting inside of 3 inches, right? We said two 3-inch groups, one 2-inch group, and with this one over here, which is actually my main beater gun, right? This is the gun that like I just throw at people. This is the gun I usually take along with me to different gun ranges because it's a skeletonized rail. If I've got women there, it's easy. It's, you know, I can just shorten the gun up a little bit. It's easy for them to pull it in, and they can comfortably shoot this gun. And I don't have to resort to you know, putting them on an AR with a shorter barrel. The shorter barrel ARs are, I have found that they are a little easier for them to hold up, but the loud boom that those short barrels make, you know, sometimes it catches women by surprise. You know, so this is a little bit quieter, so they tend to like this a little bit better. And the other thing is, if at night that muzzle flash is, it's just blinding. Like I did a video a couple of weeks ago, I think it was on the 4th of July, where I was shooting at those rims over there. I just did a 30-round magazine dump, and I couldn't see the rims while I was shooting. I mean, they just completely disappeared. I knew I knew what area they were at. So basically, I just aimed at the rims, and then, you know, without moving the gun, you know, I was boom, 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 you know. But you know, those rims completely. It wasn't even like dark. It was like dusk. You know, from a short barrel AR-15 at dusk, those rims, you know, were completely, they completely vanished, right? The flash basically completely washed them out. And somebody did make a good point in one of the comments, to use a light, because if you do the same thing and use a light on the gun, yeah, now that flash is not gonna, you know, wash out your target. So that is a very good point. But anyway, it's just, if I can get away with just throwing women on this gun over here that has a skeletonized rail, and I see that they're comfortable holding, you know, if I shorten this up, I see they can hold it. This is where I'll have them shoot, and most of them will shoot this very well. They love the gun, and then this is what they end up buying. Not from me, but, you know, like I'll send them over to Radical's website or Palmetto's or one of their websites. You know, so that's the gun that they usually end up buying. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Drop some comments below. Let me know what you think. If you got, you know, if you've been able to shoot similar guns, you know, side by side, one with a quad rail, one with a free floated rail, and, you know, if you've got some of your own data, please share it with us. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you all soon. Hey everyone, another quick point I wanted to add. I own many Palmettos and I own many Radical AR-15s. I own more Palmettos than Radicals, okay? Despite the fact that the Radicals, on average shoot a little bit more accurately. And I say average because there's exceptions to that. Most of my Radicals shoot a little bit better than the Palmettos, but I did have one Radical that it had a 7.5-inch barrel, and it was just horrible. I mean, it was giving me a 6-inch group at 50 yards. The same length barrel, right, 7.5 inches from Palmetto. That thing, I think, was hitting 3 inches at 100 yards, okay? So that was an exception where the Palmetto was shooting better than a Radical. But on average, you know, across all my ARs, you know, some of which are Radicals, some of which are Palmettos, the Radicals tend to shoot a little bit better when we're comparing the same length barrels, okay? Now, the two reasons why I have more Palmettos than Radicals, number one, they are a little bit cheaper, okay? So especially in many cases, I'm looking to buy just an upper, okay? You know, it's just a little bit cheaper. And the other thing is that they do ship a little bit faster, okay? I have seen this trend over many purchases that I have made, and also when I made recommendations to my customers, A lot of times when my customers ask me what they should buy, I will usually steer them either to to Palmetto or Radical. And what happens is if when they order from Palmetto, okay, they tend to get them a little bit quicker. The wait time, from the point of ordering to the point that they receive it tends to be a little bit shorter. When they order from Radical, it seems to be a little bit longer. Now, granted, this normally happens during times of crisis where there's like crazy stuff going on in the news, and there are like delays of many weeks. Okay. um, but that's the case for both of them. Okay? And during those time periods, I find that the palmettos ship out faster than the radicals, and also that the palmettos are a little bit cheaper. And even myself during those time periods, I'm like, you know what? Let me get another AR now. You know, which one can I get faster? Which one's going to be a little bit cheaper? Oh, it's the palmetto. Okay, great. Let me just order another palmetto. So that's how I've kind of ended up with more palmettos versus radicals. Okay. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there as additional information that I find is very interesting. So thanks for watching. I'll talk to you all soon.